businesses with guidance and services to create the recipe for success. The time by Sagicor Bank is
7 p.m.
Coming up in CVM News at 7 tonight, a call for help, but no answer. CVM investigation raises questions about child protection hotline. Also, who gave the green light? NEPA says no application received for Barking Lodge development. Also in the news, a courtroom showdown. Wheatley secures injunction against Integrity Commission. In the business report, Sepra's 80th AGM. And later in sports, Golden Hall, Sanique Walker adds another gold for Jamaica at Commonwealth Games. From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7 for this Friday, July 31, 2026. I'm Amoy Harriet, and thank you for joining us. We begin tonight with an exclusive CVM News investigation. 90% of calls placed to the country's child abuse reporting hotline went unanswered as our news team put the system to the test. Now, earlier this month, the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, CPFSA, announced that its 211 child abuse reporting hotline experienced a temporary service interruption. However, questions are being raised tonight about access to that number, as well as the alternative reporting WhatsApp number provided by the agency, as none of the 10 additional calls placed to that number on WhatsApp was answered. CVM's managing editor Tyrone Reed has more.
Reporting suspected child abuse is often the first step in protecting a vulnerable child. On July 3 this year, the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, CPFSA, issued a notice advising that its 211 child abuse reporting hotline was temporarily unavailable. Persons were directed to continue making reports through an alternative WhatsApp number 876-878-2882, an email address, or at any CPFSA office across the island. However, reaching the Child Protection and Family Services Agency took multiple attempts despite the alternative channels provided. Approximately 10 calls were made to the reporting channels provided by the CPFSA, with a response only received on the 10th attempt. This means 90% of the calls made went unanswered. For child protection advocates, delays in accessing reporting systems are a major concern.
Child abuse cases, time is everything. Every minute of delay can mean a child stays longer in danger. So, when parents, teachers, or even children themselves try to report and can't get through, it sends the wrong message that their cry for help doesn't matter. There must be a system in place that is fully staffed for 24/7 reports being made.
Duhaney says while the interruption of a service line may happen, systems must have the resources needed to respond to the volume of reports being made.
While we can appreciate also specifically that the numbers are overwhelming, considering about 14,602 cases have been reported to the child registry in 2025. We cannot afford for a system, and we know that this is a lot of cases. So the resources have to be adequate in order to deal and address with quite a number of these issues.
Responding to the concerns, Dr. Warren Thompson, Director of the Intake Investigations and Court Services Division of the CPFSA, says he understands the frustration of anyone who experiences delays when contacting the child abuse reporting line.
Taking child abuse reports, as simple as it seems, is a highly specialized and dynamic process, with each report requiring varying levels of time and intervention. Our specially trained registration officers provide empathy and support, often calming distressed callers, sensitively interviewing children who are making reports, and in some cases, implementing immediate emergency interventions while the call is in progress. As a result, officers may be engaged for extended periods before becoming available to answer the next call. Persons who experience difficulty getting through to us via 211 may also submit reports by WhatsApp at 876-878-2882 or by email at report@childprotection.gov.jm.
For child advocates, protecting children starts with ensuring that every report of abuse is acted on without delay. Tyrone Reed, CVM News.
NEPA is not in receipt of an application for that development. That bombshell revelation from the National Environment and Planning Agency NEPA tonight as it chimes in on the controversy surrounding the construction of fish ponds near the Barking Lodge Primary and Infant School in St. Thomas. The matter became public after Member of Parliament for St. Thomas Eastern Rosemary Shaw called on the agency to investigate allegations the development was proceeding without the necessary permits. This is the parcel of land at the epicenter of the controversy, the playing field at the Barking Lodge Primary School in St. Thomas. It's a private property that was donated to be developed into a recreational space for the community, which brings us to the Barking Lodge Fish Pond development that's now underway. The project is being undertaken by St. Thomas Farms Limited, whose director is former Member of Parliament for St. Thomas Eastern, Dr. Michelle Charles. Now, Dr. Charles appeared on CVM's Lead Story Thursday evening to respond to concerns raised in a release by current MP for St. Thomas Eastern, Rosemary Shaw. This was her response when asked by her host Tyrone Reed whether the development received the necessary approval from the National Environment and Planning Agency NEPA.
But you're saying you've already secured the necessary permits, including permits from NEPA. Is that the case?
Not only, and Tyrone, she even called for the municipal corporation to be giving us permits and all of that. But the municipal corporation, as she knows, she definitely knows, they're only involved when it comes to building. I spoke to the municipal corporation, which is the local government, the CEO. We're not even doing any buildings. They're aware of the fencing. Everyone that needs to know is fully aware.
Of note, developments like these typically require NEPA's approval to ensure they comply with environmental and public health regulations before construction begins. Now, potential health implications were among the issues raised by MP Shaw in her letter to the agency. But in her statement issued to her newsroom hours before this lead story interview, Dr. Charles noted that the development is being undertaken in accordance with the guidance, approvals, and requirements of the relevant government authorities and regulatory agencies.
All approvals have been secured. We went through, my letter first started with the Ministry of Fisheries. So I'm fully guided by them. They do this often. This is the first large commercial project on the East Coast. So you know that they're very excited. So all of that is done through them.
But the controversy has now deepened as NEPA has confirmed that it did not grant approval for the development. In a written response to our newsroom, the agency said, quote, NEPA has searched its records and can report that the agency is not in receipt of an application for this development, unquote. Now, CVM News reached back out to Dr. Charles for a response to NEPA's disclosure. Our call was disconnected and a message was subsequently sent. Up to news time, we had not received a response. To other news now, the Supreme Court has granted an injunction preventing the Integrity Commission from charging Cabinet Minister and South Central St. Andrew Member of Parliament, Dr. Andrew Wheatley, with illicit enrichment pending the outcome of a judicial review application. Carla Ramdeen has more in this report.
The country's primary anti-corruption body, the Integrity Commission, in an investigative report tabled in Parliament, recommended Dr. Wheatley be slapped with multiple charges, including illicit enrichment. But the embattled minister took the matter before the court. Dr. Andrew Wheatley had asked the court for permission to seek judicial review. The request was granted by presiding judge Justice David Batts. Justice Batts also granted an injunction preventing the Integrity Commission from proceeding with the charges, pending the outcome of the judicial review. He also recommended that the review be heard by a panel of 3 judges, citing the importance of the case. Attorney at law Abe Dabdoob, who represents Dr. Wheatley, says the court granted leave because the cabinet minister's legal team proved he had a very good case, noting the next step will be to file a claim, setting out their case for the panel of 3 judges to consider.
Well, what we got is leave. The court granted us leave because we indicated to the court that we have a very good case, which has a great likelihood of success. And that's why leave was granted. And now we have to file an application within 14 days.
In the meantime, political commentator Lloyd B. Smith weighed in on the matter. He says the court's decision to grant the injunction was to ensure due process. However, he views Dr. Wheatley's application for an injunction as a tactic to delay the matter, arguing that Jamaica's slow-moving court system could significantly prolong the proceedings.
Oftentimes, these seekings of injunctions, to me, tend to be a delaying tactic and serve no useful purpose in the long run, especially if in the very final analysis the party in question is to be held liable for whatever the Integrity Commission has been prosecuting.
According to Smith, Justice Batts' decision to have a panel of 3 judges hear the matter is the best way to safeguard against any perception of bias. He also argues that Jamaica should establish a special court to deal exclusively with corruption cases, rather than having them proceed through a regular court system.
The court system does accommodate the sort of scenario in which politicians can delay situations to their advantage. I would love to see, as I've been saying for some time, that there ought to be a special court set up to deal with the matter of corruption. I would love to see a corruption court set up which would help to expedite these matters much quicker rather than subjecting them to the usual everyday court proceedings, because they are of great national importance.
Carla Ramdeen, CVM News.
And just a quick correction to my earlier statement, Dr. Andrew Wheatley is the Member of Parliament for St. Catherine South Central, not South Central St. Andrew. But it is now time for a break. Stay with us. News at 7 continues in a moment.
KFC Summer Bucket.
Chicken, 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 Macadillo, super chicken.
This KFC bucket deal has you thinking chicken. Get the summer bucket for $4,700.
At Sagicor Investments, we don't chase the #1 spot. We set it as our standard.
We don't react to markets. We anticipate them, armed with deep research, sharp strategy, and a commitment to staying ahead.
My team and I are committed to delivering expert guidance that empowers clients to invest in confidence.
Our clients benefit from insight, access, and execution that only a true market leader can provide.
Ranked among the top investment companies for revenue generation and market activity for 10 consecutive years.
winning 7 times.
We ranked number 1 in value trades on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. As Jamaica's largest unit trust fund manager, our Sigma Unit Trust Fund was valued at approximately $157 billion in 2025.
This level of consistency is not luck. It's the result of strategic vision. At Sagicor Investments, number 1 is not something we strive for. It is our standard.
Before the first patty is made, there are hands that raise it, hands that grow it, hands that move it, hands that bake it, and hands that serve it. For Jamaica, by Jamaica. Through challenges and changing seasons, they stood strong. They built with us. They believed. To every farmer, every team member, every partner, thank you.
Welcome back to CVM News at 7. We are continuing the news. Inclusion, public education, and urgency are the strategies to help mitigate domestic violence, according to a review of the Domestic Violence Act being conducted by the Joint Select Committee of Parliament. The committee meeting was chaired by the Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, Olivia Babsy-Grange. Crystal Williams tells us more.
The main objectives of the Joint Select Committee meeting to review and assess the 2023 amendment submissions to the Domestic Violence Act involve interrogating cross-cutting legislation and consequential amendments and arriving at a consensus based on the recommendations from the 2018 committee to address gaps in the current domestic violence mitigation system. Committee member and opposition spokesperson on social protection and social transformation, Dr. Angela Brown-Burke, emphasized the importance of post-implementation monitoring and inclusion.
I'm also concerned about a public education mandate that would be in the law itself that is required. And of course, in terms of accountability, and for me, importantly, is also that post-implementation monitoring, what that looks like and what is expected. Not that we do it through our agencies, but that it is actually included in the legislation that we pass.
Committee member Marlene Malahoo Fort was tasked by Chairperson and Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, Olivia Babsy-Grange, to assemble a technical team of analysts to assess the submissions. Meanwhile, Member of Parliament and Shadow Minister of Gender, the Elderly and Persons with Disabilities, Denise Daly, suggested that it was best to agree on a time frame for the team to be put together by Malahoo Fort.
We keep talking about these things and then we come back, we hear that because of certain things we are not able to implement. And the time is going. While the clock is ticking, we are losing lives and we are putting other persons at risk. So I would recommend that coming out of this meeting that we set some timelines in order that we can be able to go forward.
MP Daly also reiterated the importance of public education. She says the curriculum in schools needs to reflect healthier interpersonal relationships and more sociable ways to resolve conflict.
We tend to believe that the schools are not involved in serious domestic violence, but there are serious problems happening in the schools now, and we need to include the schools. It might be a little sensitive, but we will have to know how to include it in what area of the curriculum in order that we'll be able to not just penalize, but to educate and to enforce.
Crystal Williams reporting for CVM News.
What residents say began as an ordinary morning turned into a fight to save their homes as an attempted demolition in eastern St. Thomas sparked outrage and renewed calls for better communication. Carla Ramdeen reports.
Anywhere you put away, other than yourself, we are alien. Justice we need. Just deal with it. Justice we want. Justice.
The cries of residents of Golden Grove Meadows in St. Thomas filled the air after they were confronted with an attempt to demolish their homes on Wednesday morning.
We get to SCJ and we are having meetings with them promise that them are going to regularize the land and give us. So we don't understand how they are going behind our backs after they promise us meeting upon meeting to send excavator to come look down where we are trying around here. So no stranger not there around here. So everybody get big and I look something for themselves. Yes, the lands are not ours, but we are doing it the right way. So we need the proper authorities to come out here and have real meeting with we, because some cannot say yes and some say no.
They allege the demolition was ordered by SCJ Holdings Limited, formerly known as the Sugar Company of Jamaica.
It is an illegal operation because the police, they want me to come. Now have nothing to do with the parish. Only for learn say, they must finish the parish like now. Can they get the call? Tell me now, what kind of illegalness? So we illegal, and we illegal too. So two illegal be meet up. Only can't say illegal, because me know say most of the operation have to come through government and come down to who's to ever come down. How not say no batch of police come your way? Then they will sign a signature for say them entire parish. Man, we know how to do, man.
However, residents say houses and land were provided to their parents, who were employed as sugar workers years ago. They also say stop orders were received from the municipal corporation, but the attempted demolition took them by surprise. The residents added that they have written to the SCJ and haven't received a response. The concerns of the residents were echoed by Councillor for the Dalvey Division, who says residents are not opposed to finding a solution but believe there needs to be a meeting with the SCJ.
SCJ responsible for the property? Yes, we are already gone forward. Just meet with them, give them the way forward. But this letter that they write, they was waiting on the response from SCJ. SCJ did not respond. So I don't know exactly, or they don't know where to turn. Right, they only see our excavator just pull up and ready to demolish. And I'm saying, I am the councillor and I never really get something from SCJ or nobody said this is going to happen.
CVM News reached out to the managing director of the SCJ, but he said he would provide a media release at a later date. Kevin Black for CVM News.
Major water systems in Jamaica are set to continue being buffeted by existing drought conditions. As a result, National Water Commission customers are now staring down the barrel of more water restrictions. Crystal Williams has the details.
According to reports from the National Water Commission, NWC, the Hermitage Dam is at 47% capacity in comparison to last year's 43%. Corporate Public Relations Manager at the NWC, Delano Williams, says over the last 10 years, the Commission has developed a non-revenue water reduction program in Kingston and St. Catherine for heightened monitoring.
What is the area of concern for us is that we did not have the historical wet season in May and June. We did get some rains, as you will recall, several weeks ago. But the forecast from the Met Office for the next 3 months, which would include September into October, suggests that we will have very dry and very hot conditions. Typically, September into October is a wet season for us. So therefore, if there is no rain on the forecast, it means that our storage has to remain at a level that can allow us to supply water to the residents and the business operators across the city. Hence, the restrictions are now coming into play.
He says the Commission is working to restore systems such as the Rio Cobre project to be completed in May 2027, after which work on the Hermitage Dam will commence and the Mona Dam thereafter. He also says similar preparations are being made for rural communities.
Similar arrangements, similar schedules are being put in place for a number of the other parishes. So Northeast, which includes for us St. Mary, St. Anne and Portland, a number of adjustments are being put in place now based on the system. So they will vary, beg your pardon. One of the reasons we don't necessarily publish all because it would just be so numerous, because it's not so much of at a parish level. In Portland, for instance, you have at least 12 systems that are being affected. So from community to community, a different schedule will apply.
Mr. Williams added this latest round of water restrictions should result in the storage of approximately 50% more water, which would have otherwise been at risk due to leaks or natural events.
We've been actively improving on saving water. We've been making gains, so much so that in previous, perhaps the last 4 or 5 years, the drought would have started to impact us from as early as February, March. As we speak, we're just now coming into what are called water restrictions for the corporate area. The Constant Spring Network started on July 3rd, and the Mona Network will commence on August 3rd, beg your pardon. That's this coming Monday.
Crystal Williams reporting for CVM News.
The Lucea Fish Sanctuary has officially opened in Hanover, adding to Jamaica's network of protected marine areas. Agriculture and Fisheries Minister Floyd Green says the sanctuary will help restore fish stocks while creating new economic opportunities for coastal communities. Natasha Williams reports.
The Lucea Fish Sanctuary is Jamaica's 20th fish sanctuary, increasing the country's protected marine space to about 11,000 hectares. Green says the sanctuary is designed to restore declining fish populations, safeguarding the livelihoods of fishing communities and strengthening food security.
We recognize that now more than ever, we need to be expanding our sanctuary network. It's very important, especially with what we have seen happen over the years to our fisheries sector. And we must remember, every time we hear of a new sanctuary, what we're really doing is investing in the life of our fishermen and women. What we're really doing is trying to ensure that we protect our food security.
Green says years of declining near-shore fish stocks have made it harder for fishers to earn a living, making marine conservation more important than ever. The sanctuary's benefits, however, extend beyond the fishing industry. Tourism Enhancement Fund Executive Director Dr. Kerry Wallace says healthy marine ecosystems can unlock new opportunities for Jamaica's tourism sector, particularly through marine-based attractions.
There is also another element of tourism that I think many of us don't pay enough attention to. And now that our peace rate is improving significantly, you will see the year-by-year reduction in crime, making Jamaica a more and more peaceful country. It's opening up opportunities, including the type of marine tourism where you have boats and yachts and sailboats and jetties and marine parks and life and docks, a whole subsector of tourism that's begging. It's thriving in other Caribbean destinations like Antigua and Martinique and some of those islands, but Jamaica would thrive even more with that type of tourism evolving.
He also notes that creating sustainable income stream will also be essential to the sanctuary's long-term success. He points to ecotourism, sea moss farming, and oyster farming as initiatives that can generate revenue while supporting conservation efforts.
We have embarked on some projects. So in Galleon, we worked with them to establish an eco-tour where we're able to provide some funds for them to get a jetty, for them to get kayaks. And now they have tours going out where they charge and they're able to put that money into the sanctuary. In other areas, we've done things like sea moss farming, working with the fishers. They go out, they plant sea moss, take that resources, put it into the sanctuary. As you have heard, we've worked with fishers to do oyster farming. Again, part of what we have to sit down and do now is work with the Lucea team to see what is the best economic activity that can maintain the sanctuary.
Green says 2 more fish sanctuaries are expected to be established this year as Jamaica continues expanding its network of protected marine areas. Natasha Williams, CVM News.
Let's head now to a break. CVM News at 7 returns following these messages.
bucket. This KFC bucket deal has you thinking chicken. Get the summer bucket for $4,700.
The time by KFC is 7:30.
Before the first patty is baked, they are hands that grow what we need. For Jamaica, by Jamaicans. Through every season and challenge, they built with us. They believed. To every farmer, thank you.
What is real power? It's more than strength. It's creating what's next, building what lasts, powering the projects that shape Jamaica. Day after day, challenge after challenge. That's real power. XCMG Jamaica. Powered by Real Power Diesel.
KFC summer bucket.
Chicken, 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 mega deal, super chicken,
This KFC bucket deal has you thinking chicken. Get the summer bucket for $4,700. KFC summer bucket.
chicken, 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 mega deal, super chicken,
This KFC bucket deal has you thinking chicken. Get the summer bucket for $4,700.
Welcome back. We go now to regional and international news.
We begin with news in the region. As Barbados and the wider Caribbean bid farewell to national hero, the Right Excellent Sir Garfield Sobers, some of the biggest names in West Indies cricket gathered at Kensington Oval to honor the man widely regarded as the greatest all-rounder the game has ever seen. CBC Barbados has that story.
Kensington Oval wasn't just hosting the state funeral of Sir Garfield St. Auburn Sobers. It became a reunion of the greatest names of West Indies cricket, men who played alongside him, followed in his footsteps, and were inspired by the standard he set. Leading the list of local cricket royalty was former West Indies iconic batting peer of Sir Gordon Greenidge, and the most honourable Desmond Haynes, whose leadership transformed the regional team into a dominant force during the 1970s and 1980s.
Moving to international news, Russia unleashed one of its largest bombardments of the war, firing more than 70 missiles and 280 drones overnight across Ukraine, killing at least 8 people and leveling homes in cities including Lviv. Al Jazeera tells us more.
A wave of relief as rescuers carry a 4-year-old boy to safety from the 5th floor of an apartment building in Lviv in western Ukraine. Rescue workers spent the morning clearing rubble after the latest Russian barrage. The civilian death toll of the war is climbing in Ukraine, and July has been the worst month since the opening weeks of the full-scale invasion. But the attacks reached beyond Ukraine. Across the border in neighboring Poland, air raid sirens also sounded. One missile landed in a field, marking a rare spillover of the war into NATO territory.
Elsewhere, Spain's North African enclave of Ceuta has requested emergency status after thousands of migrants crossed from Morocco, overwhelming local infrastructure and prompting the deployment of military reinforcement. While Madrid has ruled out a formal national emergency, it has agreed with Morocco to fast-track the return of migrants following a surge that mirrors a similar crisis in 2021. And that's it for regional and international news. I'm Carla Ramdeen.
Thank you, Carla. Let's go now to Michael Paul for what's happening on social media.
So, what's trending online today? FIFA is considering selling a 20% stake in its commercial business for around $4 billion while keeping 80% control. The plan could see every member association receive about $40 million for football development. But UEFA is warning that private investors could end up having too much influence over the game. UEFA and its 55 nations have released a statement saying they will not participate in FIFA competitions in response to the proposal to sell a stake in the World Cup to private investors. Supporters say FIFA would still be firmly in charge. Critiques fear it's another step toward putting profits before football. Let's hear what you had to say. At LTHR Pete comments, you know it's bad when UEFA has to stand up against corruption. At CRZ Dre says, they realize private investors means Trump and his friends. At Favor comments, if the goal is to generate more money, when does football stop being a good sport and start becoming a business? At Evans M. Scissor says, this might be the worst president FIFA ever had. There has been a lot of corruption in his tenure. At J. Gaze says, didn't even take time to discuss it over a Powerade water break. Crazy. And that's what's trending online today. Continue to share your thoughts with us on X at CVM TV and CVM_television on Instagram and Facebook. I'm Michael Paul.
Thank you, Paul. It's no time for a break, but when we come back, Jordan Fort will have the latest on what's happening in sports.